Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my daily news analysis channel. Here we discuss not only the news but their context. We understand why behind each and every news, what is its history, geography, its polity, as well as its impact on your life. Starting with our today's news headline. So today our news are basically about lots of Supreme Court judgments. Supreme Court yesterday has given a lot of judgments on various issues, like various issues on environment, on polity, on other issues. So let us see what will happen. Let us start without any further delay. Let us start. So as we have discussed yesterday about the governor case, where the governor of Tamil Nadu has made some specific changes in the council of ministers headed by chief minister approved speech. While he has to present when he has to present a speech, he made some changes in the paragraph. He did not read them at the starting of the session. So it states that why he didn't speak about that, because here the state was criticizing the uh, center scheme like Vikasit Bharat Yojana. They also talk about the low allocation of funds by the center to Tamil Nadu. They are criticizing government on that, and governor did not speak about that. So here the many questions have been arising out, that why did governor did not say anything on this. Uh, some concerns are there. Should we remove the post of the governor? Because from the last few years we are seeing a lot of cases on the about the post of the governor. There is a lot of tussle is happening between governor and the state, and at the center. Haji, at the state, between the state. So should we remove them? So let us understand who is a governor basically. So governor is a constitutional body. It is a constitutional body. It is the agent of the center and acts in the aid and the advice of center only. So in the state only. So he's the agent of the center. Why was the governor office was being prepared by the constitutional makers? Because they said that governor is the link between center and the state, right? As we know that our country is a quasi federal country, it means that the relation between center and the state are not neither too rigid, or they are neither too flexible also, right? They are in quasi halfway nature, that whenever any situation arises, that in normal circumstances state will lead on their own. State will r- run they will act according to their own, in prescribed by the constitution and other rules. But at the time of emergency, like in article 350, article 356, 360, 356, 360, at the time of emergency, like in the national emergency, on financial emergency, or states emergency, at that time center will would prevail state power. And here governor is a link between center and the state. Governor, in short, governors, the role of governor. B.R. Ambedkar said that when debate was happening in the Constituent Assembly, when question be being asked by B.R. Ambedkar, that whether we should include governor or not. So he has said that governor will silently observe the state's mechanism. He will not interfere in state's machinery. He will examine that whether the center is performing uh, as per the center's uh, as per the center's mandate, whether center is running in coordination with the state, is running in coordination with the center or not. He will silently observe them, and if necessary he can also suggests something like about the article 201, which states that uh, which is on the discretion of the center governor, that if he has to give any assent to the bill or not, he can refer it to the president. So in case if we found that some center is here, any rule is being prepared by the state and it is not in coordination with the center, or it will impact the center's list or not, he can say about that, he can refer to the president only. But in a way, he will act in article number 200 states that governor will act in aid and advice of the state only. Now here there are relations. If now there's a tussle between center and the state, if there will be any, if we remove this post, so it is a constitutional mechanism breakdown, because just like president, we have president at the center, we have governor as the state level. Governor not only act as a observer, he is not only the agent of the center, but also at the when there is a political instability in the state, at that time he will this governor will appoint a new government. He plays a very important role at that time. He also suggests uh, about the president, whether there is a need of a president's rule or not, under article 356. So he is the main link between center and the state. If we remove this, then the link between center and state will deteriorate, and it will also impact the federal structure, quasi federal structure of India, because only this structure has maintained our India as it is. So removing the post is not advisable. Rather, here we should be some introduce some amendments in the constitution regarding government's power, responsibility, his actions and his acts, so that he can maintain a balance between center and the state, and this constitutional body remains constitutionally politically a neutral only. This is the main case. Moving towards our second news headline. Our second news headline talks about Supreme Court's judgment on the Election Commission of India on SIR. As we know that, and I have discussed yesterday also, that special intensive revision exercise is being held, is right now, it is right now ongoing in West Bengal, and lot of disparate discrepancies can be seen in the exercise of a SIR, where the valid voters, where the genuine voters are being excluded. Now, this is against the universal adult franchisee principle, which states that every citizen above 18 year has the right to vote in India. It is against this because you are excluding the genuine people from the from from electoral rules. Also, we can see there are a lot of there is a lack of coordination between Election Commission of India and State Election Commission of India. Supreme Court has also said that this exercise, that is special intensive revision, is not unconstitutional. It is not unregulated also, but all it requires is a procedure. It requires punctuality, it requires accountability, and as well as it requires transparency as well. Article number, according to People's Representation Act of 1952, it mandates that Election Commission of India has the right to conduct electoral rolls, special electoral rolls in any part of the country, and it is on the will of the Election Commission of India. This is it. And also a rule called Registration of Electoral Rule of 1960 1960. It also prescribed procedure for the role revisions. But there is a lot of discrepancies are being held, can be seen, which is against the basic structure of Indian constitution, and it also against the democracy also, justice also, equality also. They are all against this. That's why Supreme Court has made a ruling that they need to follow a due process and principles of natural justice also. They need to make a mechanism that how they are going to conduct their service. They need to become more systematic in this, because Election Commission of India is a constitutional body under Article 324. It is mandated with the roles and responsibility to conduct free, fair, and impartial elections in all over the country. Election is the nerve of or the vein of democracy in India, in country like India especially. And if Election Commission of India they are making such kind of a blunders, it is a it is the question of, it acts as a, it doesn't suit the constitutional body of the largest democracy in the world. So they need to make some systematic arrangements in their system. Moving towards a third news headline, it is again about the Supreme Court judgment. So Supreme Court of Judgment constitute a multidisciplinary expert committee to define Aravallis. As we know that since November 2025, Aravalli is in the news. Aravalli is the most important mountain range in northern India. It helps, it acts as a barrier, as it stopped the uh, hot winds coming from the Thar desert to enter in northern India in Himalayan region, so that the temperature here in North India remains stable. Otherwise, it will, if we cut Aravalli due to mining, it will lead to desertification in northern India. Desert wind, hot wind will enter in Himalayan region, which will lead to melting of Himalayas. And ultimately, if Himalayas melt, then it will lead to flood in areas near Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, Uttarakhand. Now, all these areas, all these states, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, Uttarakhand, they all lie in the Great Indian Northern Plains. Now, these northern plains are the most fertile region, most fertile region, and if flood will come in this region, it will lead to a disaster. You know, it will impact our agriculture department. It will impact, when our agriculture is impacted, it will also impact the food security. Also, it will impact the infrastructure, laws of life, economic disruptions in this region, and it will be a disastrous for us, for northern India. That is why it is very important to protect Aravalli. In November 2025, Supreme Court gave a judgment that all those Aravalli ranges which are of 100 meters, which are under the 100 meters of ranges, they are included as Aravallis, and rest are excluded. So there are nearly 12,181 Aravalli hills in this ranges, and only 1,048 hills meet the criteria, and rest over hills, they are allowed that industrialists can do mining in these regions. Now this constitute 2 to 3% of Aravalli ranges only. If this rule judgment comes out, if this rule allowed, then 90% of Aravali will be under the mining area. You can do mining in the 90% Aravali, and it will lead to desertification, as I've discussed earlier also. That what will lead to. That is why, in order to protect Aravali, Supreme Court has constituted a multidisciplinary experts committee to define what does it mean to be Aravali. Protecting Aravali is a case of a deep ecology center. See, in order to protect any way, in order to see, as I have discussed earlier also, that we have come in an arena that where we have to promote economic development. Also, we have to promote our environmental protection also. When we do balance between economic activities and environmental protection also, this kind of development is known as sustainable development. If we prioritize economic development over environmental protection, it is an example of a shallow ecology, where we have become more human centric. We are choosing economic development over environmental protection. We are not protecting our environment. And this Supreme Court 2025 judgment and mining in these areas is the example of shallow ecology. Whereas when we when we give importance to environmental protection over economic development, it is the example of deep ecology. It is a ecocentric point. It is an ecocentric viewpoint. So here I'm not saying that we should follow deep ecology method, or I'm not saying we should follow shallow. I'm saying we should lead a sustainable development. The economic development should be in harmony with environmental protection if we have to live earlier. Because a quote is there, the earth will survive. If we do not take care of earth will survive, but the existence of human will will be destroyed. Because before humans also earth existed. Earth has earth has bear lot of challenges. Earlier it was a red ball, gases, lots of hydrogen and helium. Earth consists of that. Later on, in mid at a time one time has come when it become a frozen ball. Now, so that time also earth has sustained. That time also earth has sustained. So earth will sustain this. But in this process, our existence will get diminished, will get destroyed. That is why we need to do sustainable development only. This is the only solution. Moving towards our fourth headline. Talks about Prevention of Corruption Act of 1988. So few days back, a two Supreme Court judge bench, they delivered a split judgment. Remember, after many days, a split judgment has come from Supreme Court. That is why it is very very important to understand that what was the issue, what was the matter. A split judgment, a two judge bench of Supreme Court gave a split judge verdict on the constitutional validity of Section 17A of Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. So, what is this Prevention of Corruption Act of 1988? It is very important to us to know, whether you are preparing for competitive exam, whether you are a citizen. You should know what is Prevention of Corruption Act. When you're aware of it, it was very helpful for you. So, in 1984, a committee was constituted called K. Sinathan Committee. They have suggested that in order to prevent corruption in the government machinery, in order to to maintain the conduct of police of government officials, there must be a law which deals with the punishment to public servants if they committed any offense while performing their duty. So, this law, Prevention of Corruption Act of 1988, is a law which deals with the giving punishment to the public servants if they do any criminal, if they committed any offense. Now, what does it mean to be an offense? Offense includes bribery, it includes misconduct, it includes undue advantage of their position, theft, it also includes if it also includes if you are misusing your position by um, threatening common public. So here the public servant, it means government or local authorities, state employees, central government employees, PSU sector employees, they all comes under public sector. So if any public servant, while they are on their duty, if they commit any kind of offense, then they can be punished. So this is the Prevention of Corruption Act of 1988. Now, Section 17A, which is the main word, what does it say? Section 17A states that if you have to, um, you need to require a prior sanction from the appropriate government before prosecuting a public servant. You need to take the prior permission from this. So here, the whole debate was about this called Section 17A. They are saying that is it unconstitutional or not. The case was filed by a PLI. It was a case between an I'm forgetting the name of the case, but it was a public litigation interest versus Union of India. Here, split verdict is given, where one judge, that is Justice KV Vishwanathan, is saying that it is Action 17A of Prevention of Corruption Act of 1988 is constitution as it protect the honest officers from the ferocious false complaints. However, it says that let's say that if you have a doubt that government is being misbiased, you can recommendation must be provided by an independent body, not by the government. But this is a constitutional act, constitutional, where, and it is very very important because it protects the honest officer. Whereas BV Nangarathan, Justice BV Nangarathan, the second judge, said that if it is constitutional, what's the need of Article 14? Article 14 basically talks about right to equality, of equality before law. It says that there is a rule of life, and everyone are equal on this on this rule of life. Nobody is above, nobody is down. So there's Article 14 is said. There's a Section 19 of Prevention Corruption of Act 1988, which also states that honest officers will be safe. So this why this is there? It is like a old wine in a new bottle. So now the case is being referred to a higher judge bench, which will decide the constitutionality of Section 17A. However, my recommendation would be that in this case it is that what they should do is that they should impose penalty for false and malicious complaint. If any person is filing any malicious or false complaint against an honest officer, then he will be imposed with a penalty or some kind of a punishment, and it would act as a deterrent against habitual false complainants. So in a way, this is a very good thing. But sometimes we see that government also refer also put some false cases against honest officers if the officer was not coordinating with the government. So let us see what will happen next in this video. Now I would like to end this video by today's quote. Today's quote is said that die slowly or change painfully. Here I would like to give the example of eagle. Now eagle, when any eagle reaches about age of 35 to 40, eagle is a very strong bird, right? As we know, all know that. But at the age of 30 or 40, there are some biological changes that happens in his body. Like there are some biological changes that happens in her body, like her her beak, it started becoming weaker. Her her feather becomes very heavier, because so due to this she cannot fly upward, right? And also the nails of her the nails of her legs also, they also get weaker at the age of 35 to 40. So in this case, if all of these cases are slow, then in this cases she has two options, whether she will die or she will change herself. So she undergoes a very painful process where she uh, destroy her original beak, destroy her nails, destroy all her old feathers. And it is a very difficult, painful process. It is a process of around 150 days she undergoes that. And then new feather, new beak, new nails come, which are more stronger to them, which will help her to live next 30 years. So in a way, when in a life we have two choices that we should, that either we have two options, that that we should choose, have a life that we will die one day, we will surrender in front of the situation, or we will change ourselves slowly, we will undergo that rigorous pain to achieve our goal. The choice is ours. On that note, thank you so much.